What do we have here? Ooh, a flying Sioux from Electra. Not an electric bike, no, Electra Cruisers. They've been around for decades. They're currently owned by Trek Bicycle Corporation, but they still keep the brand pretty up to par to what it has been in the years past. Kind of cool style fenders, struts. This one has a 3-speed internal hub. Classic kind of style ride. Yeah, these ain't light, but they're a lot of fun to ride. But this one's been, I would say, seen a little bit of outside wear, so we're gonna clean off whatever surface rust and dirt and grime and give it a shine like you know I do with all my bikes, in addition to make sure it's a solid ride for the next cruiser style fan. Let's get flying on the Flying Sioux after this. Welcome to I Know a Guy Bicycles, hanging out with the guy. Hi, I'm Justin the Guy. Obviously I have a garage shop. Take scary out of used, one bike at a time. If you want to be kept up to date on latest projects and topics, please like and subscribe. Welcome back to I Know a Guy Bicycles, hanging with the guy. Hey, I'm Justin the Guy on this old bike series. Woo! Look at this. We got ourselves a cruiser. Yeah, cruisers are, you know, one of those classic, timeless bikes that have been around for a long time. I mean, pretty much the original bikes were kind of a cruiser to begin with. So, needless to say, fast forward today, they add a little more style to it. And this does have a 3-speed, which kind of helps you get up and down those, low-level hills. Not a big range, but the electric brand is from basically originally from Cali. It's a California brand where they had a cruiser line. I remember back in the day when I worked at Lee's Cyclery in 2001, 2002, we carried Electra, Nerve, and I think another third brand, which made just kind of cruisers. And the shop I was working was located right next to CSU, right across the street. So it was a very popular style, a type of bike for those who are going to college. Great college bike. Great way to kind of show your style. It's just fun. So if you're in a neighborhood that has bike paths close by and you got kids you want to ride with, or ride to your local restaurants, that kind of thing, they're not too far. These are a lot of fun. And I do have one, Electra one, that has like a baskets and cage and all that kind of stuff. This one's called the Flying Sioux, which has the decaling of the old World War II bombers on it. Like they'd have like graphics up front. This is one of those. So this is a pretty classic type bike. Silver and black with a little bit of gold detailing to it. Flying Sioux stamped on the fender, as well as the head badge, or I forget what they call those. It's kind of like a nameplate thing that they put in the actual frame. Black rims. And this one actually has, get this, valve caps that are shaped as a bullet. Not that I promote guns and bullets, but, it's kind of cool. I mean, you just got to say. What I see here, what we need to do, is we got some surface rust on the chain. Let's throw that in the ultrasonic cleaner. Hopefully that'll bring the chain back to life. It is externally plated, so there's a good chance it'll be done. The chain ring itself needs to be cleaned up as well. Plus, I'm going to take the fenders off and the chain guard to give it a detailing clean. I'm going to use multiple stages of Adams polish to kind of get that paint to come back to life. And from there, I'm going to seal it up with ceramic slam, a ceramic coating, stack it so it has that water UV protection. Kind of just sheds. It is a steel frame, so mindful of that. Any kind of protection is good protection when it comes to that. Also kind of clean up the grips and so forth. Also, this has a boo-boo. Basically, the cap is missing, which I did order a cap part, which before doing this, I did not double check. So let's reveal my order and see if I got the right bit. This is basically shifter cover. I forget, they're not too expensive. This one's broken or popped off. Shifter's fine, it seems to be working okay, so it gives me an opportunity to clean it up. Also make sure the cable and housing is intact all the way through. This one has what they call struts. When the struts is kind of like a reinforcement of the front to give the front end more stiffness or support-ish. These things are built like tanks anyway. Although, versus the old school, 50s style cruiser, you got an A-headset system with a block, 4-bolt up front, alloy rims and hubs, and a 3-speed hub in the back. So you do have the little more updated bits on this versus back in the day when the things were like super tanks, like the Phantom Schwinn. That actually the Phantom Schwinn was kind of interesting because in the 90s when we were a Schwinn dealer, the Schwinn went under but got sold to a marketing company or whatever. They brought back the Phantom, which was kind of cool. So there's going to be some replicas floating around out there, which now are pretty old back to the day that, I don't know, I'm aging myself out, right? In any case, we're going to give this a lot of love and a lot of detailing and so forth, and just kind of make sure that the whole thing is in tip-top shape. And I have somebody that's already interested in this guy, so that's kind of cool. So mindful, it's like, hey, I love my customers. And if somebody's like, oh, that bike, I do have some customers like, oh, is that for sale in my garage? I'm like, oh, yeah. Yeah, so I just need to get to it and do my thing. So this is my thing. Well, thanks for hanging out with me. First and foremost, thank you for hanging out and supporting my channel. I greatly appreciate it. Hanging out with a guy inside of a garage is, kind of a living dream of mine, just doing what I'm doing. So thank you for hanging out with the journey, and hey, just sit back and relax and watch me tear into this thing, and maybe pick up some tips and tricks on your own on the bikes that you have, or maybe I'll inspire you to go get yourself a little cruiser and cruise around town. The last one I did one of these was really funny. Once I finished it, my neighbor saw it and it was like, mine. It's like, okay, all you, dude, it's all yours. But so cruisers are definitely a style. And if you see one, it's like, oh, I gotta have, you just gotta have it. And if you're an avid cyclist, you like mountain biking, road biking, whatever, a cruiser fits right in all those levels. And again, thanks for hanging out. And let's just sit back and relax and let me just tear into this thing. Where first? Oh yeah, should probably take the wheels off and start cleaning the parts. Yeah, it's dirty, 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 dirty birdie. So in order to take the rear wheel off, I need to get the chain. This is probably just does not have a power link, most likely, or quick link, or what do they call those back in the day? Master link. Yeah, that's what it is, a master link. Somebody TM'd that one, didn't they? First, you need to take this mechanism off here. You can use, I think it's like a 9mm or an Allen. It does have either or on this guy. Interesting to being that, or is it a 10? Yeah, it might be a 10. So when you take these off, you got to be mindful. It will shoot out at you because there's a pre-pressed pin in there. And actually, I probably should have knocked this down to the small shifting. So don't lose track of this and make sure that you put it in the direction that you came out of. What this does is changes the 3 speeds, like 1, 2, and 3. So you got those 3 positions. That is internal. This is okay just chilling because there's no other little bits there. Then that acts as the actual regular lock nut. So when you have one of these, you may get some fancy lock nuts on there, but you can't replace this one. It has to still be the standard. And by doing this, you gotta release this a little bit. But before that, you need to unhook your brake arm. What's a brake arm, you ask? Let me show you what a brake arm is. Well, don't break your arm. So this pedals backwards to brake, and this has your traditional brake arm. This prevents, makes it brake. And I believe this is 2 10s on this one. Yeah, so you got a 10 on the inside and a 10 on the outside. And this is where the ratcheting comes in really nicely, because these are a very awkward angle, and you got to take the nut off all the way. So don't lose your nut as well. I guess I just said that. And these do have a kind of a lock washer built into it. It's like a nylon coating on the nut. So make sure your nuts are coated. That little bit there. Yeah, we went there. And this guy, the trick sometimes is it gets wedged in there, so you kind of just have to act like you need to unbolt this or unscrew it out, because it gets bound up on the band clamp and the arm. And if you can get your ratchet in there, that helps push that out. Come on. Sometimes you're going to do it by hand. And you notice this has a nice little rubber gasket on top of it, which is kind of worn off. So what I'll do is I'll put some protection on the frame where this clamp is going to go over, since this has pretty much been compromised. See, it's still taking its time. I feel a give in, so it's a little bit easier. So there's the bolt there. That releases this brake arm. Now you can drop the wheel out. And this band clamp is just basically stamped steel. I'll just pull that off right now so I can clean the frame. But that's what it looks like. It usually has a coating all the way around. That coating is basically come apart over weathering. So we're going to put a piece of electrical tape or some kind of rubber mask tape to protect the frame while this clamp goes back over to protect that area. And now I can access those bolts so I can drop the wheel out forward. So it's just a 15 millimeter. Release it a little bit on both sides, because if you release one, the other one might bind and not be able to get it to come loose. So that drops right out. And you just need to roll that chain and watch your fingers. You can see how that rust is kind of intruded into the rollers. So we'll have to see if we can get this to come back to life. I mean, it feels still fluid, so it should. Then this has a little rubber clamp there. Now this gives me access to the bolts to the fender, so I can take it out, so I can clean that individually. It's really hard to do those cleanings in all these little tight areas for detailing, and also the frame. So taking it off is 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts, and then the side fender or chain cover is 2, and the front is 4 or 5 bolts as well. So we'll strip this down so I can get to all those parts. And the wheel itself I'll definitely clean and true and do a ceramic coating on the rim, making sure it's good, and also making sure it's all aired up. And these tires are original, so they look like they're still in pretty good shape. So we'll give those a good cleaning. You can see where the spot where it's been sitting. So this is seeing a lot of some outside time. So we're going to make it look like it did not have outside time at all. And the cabling here, these are just kind of wedged, so I can easily slide this out and pull that off completely so I can really get into the frame and clean the cable and housing, inspect it, and put it all back together. And this also gives me access, once I take all this stuff off, for the crank to make sure that crank is good, pedals are good, and all that, and so forth. Well, on to the next. Front wheel is a little more simple. It's just 2 bolts, and it has those rounded bolts, which are kind of cool. Kind of like lug nuts on a semi. And these do have lawyer spacers on them, which means it won't drop right out. You have to go past the safety catches, like they're right here. So there again, we're gonna inspect that hub. That's a little, that needs to be re-greased and adjusted, a little dry, but looks like it's still in good shape. And again, same here. Gonna take this off, the struts out, clean these because they're all bolted anyway. There's 1 bolt there. Now remember, when you assemble these, when they're new, you got this hodgepodge box of parts, and if you have never done one before, you're like, where does this go? Because they don't come with instructions. But after you do a few of them, you get very versed of what needs to be done on that. And then we can proceed to keep taking that cable out and be mindful of where it's threaded through. And then we can do some fancy detailing, cleaning the parts. Granted, there's not a lot of parts to these, so basically the chain, and that's really about it. It needs to be put in ultrasonic cleaner. Everything else is going to be hand cleaned and hand detailed. So there's no derailleurs. The brakes is internal, so we're just going to wash that in the shop sink over there, and then do a hand cleaning of those particular parts, and go from there. But let's strip the rest of this bad boy down, so I got all the fenders and chains and everything else, so I can get to the frame and clean that chain and get that going. So here we have the parts prior to cleaning. I got the fenders off and the struts, so we're going to do all those individually, as well as the chain guard. So I organized the nuts and bolts, which section it goes to on the bike, and the wheels need to be cleaned as well. You can hear the chain being ultrasonic clean. Hopefully I can get it to revive. Did a first initial wave cleaning to just see if there's anything major right off the bat. Doesn't look like it, so just, you know, it does have a little bit of chips here and there, but hopefully I can get all that to come out. And with the detailing, with the scratch and swirl, we're gonna do those kind of detailing features. So we'll see what comes. Nope, chain sounds done, so better get cracking and start cleaning. We'll review the parts once they're all cleaned up and detailed and see where we need to go from there. Here we have the wheels. Woo! They have turned out immaculate. That rubber is in real good shape, and the spokes cleaned up. Got darkened by that ceramic coating from Ceramic Slam. Yes, and now we have the fenders all clean, and the chain still has some rust, so I'm gonna have to order a chain. But other than that, we are about ready to assemble. And the frame, look at this. I haven't knocked it down yet. It's still flashing, so, but it's definitely a lot cleaner. Most of those chips and scratches have hidden away with all the detailing. And you can watch other detail videos. I'll have those in the description. I have a playlist of how I do the 3-step Adams polishes and also the ceramic coating. But yeah, let's check it out when it's all reassembled after this. All right, let's check this out. What? Look at the shine. All right, I haven't knocked down the ceramic coating yet, so you can kind of see a light haze to this. So by just taking a fiber cloth, you can see how it just knocks it down. It gets super, super shiny and super slick. So I did about 3 coats, 3 stacks, and man, look at how that glitter, the silver, just pops. Check out the chain guard. I mean, Flying Sue is just catching on the decal, but see how shiny that is. And the fenders, holy cow. Yeah, this is pretty amazing stuff once you get this. You can still see some scratches, but that ceramic coating is going to provide that added protection. You can see how that super shiny. Yeah, this is going to be one stellar ride. Still need the chain, but once that's installed, it'll be ready to go. Let's recap. So there we have it. I mean, I'm glad we got some sun today to actually show off the frame. Unfortunately, that chain is still rusty, so got a new one on its way, and polishing this up is going to be pretty immaculate. Pretty close to, well, better than new in some areas. We got super, super, super nice shine to it. A couple little things that still need to do to it, but other than that, it is pretty much ready to rock. Pretty stellar. So this individual is thinking about buying it, well, has a kind of attachment to the flying suit or bomber style logos, which, you know, are pretty classic in itself. So this is going to turn out pretty amazing. Also, I did a double layer on the rims and spokes that took those dull spokes and made them pop. So that was pretty amazing. So between cleaning the surface with surface prep from lithium, put the ceramic slam on the rims as well as the spokes to bring the spokes out really well. And I had some Armor All tire prepping to make it even more shiny. So this is one immaculate bike. It's going to be great for the guy that's in. He's going to be showcasing it into a cruiser ride in his local town. So it's going to be kind of cool to see what kind of reactions it gets. But in any case, this one is about done. Just need to wait for the chain. Until next time, I'll have this all wrapped up. But hey, the things I use and everything, description below. If you have a cruiser or if you detail your bikes and that kind of thing, hey, slam some comments below. The things you may do differently or found that works well. It's a community here. And again, thank you for hanging out with me in the garage. If it's nice in your neck of the woods, please go for a ride and get that ponytail flowing, even if you have a virtual one. Everybody needs to have some downtime. Get out there. Well, thanks again from the garage, and I really appreciate you watching me do what I do. That makes it all work. Until next time, from the garage, have a wonderful day. Oh, before you go, check out these pictures. Nice. Thank you. Trash truck. Trash today. Oh boy. Yep. Come on, trash truck. Come on. Go on through. You know it's just gonna stop and do this. You'd think I would stop recording during days where I have trash. It's such an opportune time. Hey, Maddie! Kid, dog walk, got everything going on. Yeah, big old trash truck, huh, buddy? Big old scary trash truck. Come over here! How's it? About walking. What's that? About walking. Yeah. Like, oh, I want to go for a walk. Like, now I told you earlier, we went for a long walk. You're going to have to do the bus stop walk later. Yeah.